Kojo.
What's going on, fellas?
How we doing?
Good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you.
Marty Smith. Pleasure.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Ryan McGee, good to see you, man.
Thank y'all for having me.
No, thank you. How you feeling?
Good.
Good.
A little anxious.
Yeah, I was going to say
I mean,
that.
it's not like there's a stadium full of people out there.
That's what you live for, though,
Well,
brother.
if they just hand me a guitar, it'd be fine, but I got to go out there and do this talking thing.
Got to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least teleprompters are a lot easier to read than scripts on paper.
Since we saw you last, Leather is the CMA Album of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you
All right.
very
Amazing.
much.
First of all, you beat everybody else, so there's that piece. But when you look at who was nominated, that final five, you beat Stapleton, Combs, Casey Musgrave, and Jelly. What sense of accomplishment is that?
Well, they were all great albums. I think if you're ever in a category for an award, whatever it is, and you don't feel, we'll just say album, if you feel like you're kind of nominated up against something that you feel like, man, that might not have been their best work, and then you lose, you're like, man, you know, I really wished I'd have had that one. But when I looked at that category, I was literally sitting next to my wife saying, there's no way.
No shot.
Well, because I'd already listened to all those records, and I'm like, those are great records. And I believe in my work, too. I felt like Leather was a great album. And I'm always trying to best from one album to the next. Which one can we, let's beat it again, let's beat it again. But yeah, when they said my name, I went, you've got to be kidding me. Like, if I looked like I was in shock, I was.
I don't say, did you black out a little bit?
No, I just really couldn't, I couldn't believe it, you know? I mean, there was, it was like I got flooded with emotion of thinking about all the times whenever I've been told by so many people that what I do wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. And here we are with an album of the year. And I mean, I started thinking about Trent Willman and Jack Clark and all the songwriters and all the musicians that helped make that body of work. So it was really special for me.
I remember we interviewed Jeff Foxworthy one time, and he said something to us that has always resonated with me. He said, one day you wake up and you're like, well, what do you do when your dreams come true? You know,
The dog that caught the car.
Yeah, you look like a man that who's the impossible dream came true that night.
Yeah, but here, I'm almost a detriment unto myself when it comes to that, because as soon as something happens, I start dreaming about something else.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always thinking about the next mountain. And I've always been that way. I mean, I'll place, you know, almost intentionally place all the importance on this mountain so I can get to the top of it. And then immediately that mountain doesn't matter anymore because it's the next mountain. Yeah. And then I'll do the same thing over and over. But I think that's where my drive comes from, my work ethic comes from, is because I didn't work this hard to get this far to turn around and let it all go. We're going to keep going until hopefully I'm 90 years old and we're sitting here talking about the next show I'm going to play.
Have you enabled yourself or allowed yourself to look down the horizon line at the last mountain? What's on that last mountain?
I know that there's always a constant fear of, when does this stop? What's going to be the catalyst that makes this stop? And I know for me, it ain't going to be me. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep playing. What if the pendulum swings in country music and I get left behind?
But you swung it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then there's that. But I think that's what I'm always thinking about, is how do I not get left behind? I'm always going to keep driving, pull my hat down, keep kicking and spurring and moving the horse forward all the time. And, I think it's because music is probably, besides, having a wife and kids, music is the most important thing in my life. I eat, sleep, breathe, sweat country music.
We are all on airplanes all the time. I want to know what it's like when the pilot comes over and says, we're going down.
It sucks.
I assumed that.
And since we're on camera, I can't really say you almost your pants, but y'all can edit that out.
You can say that.
Your life flashes before you. I just really wished I didn't have my wife with me that night. Me and Noe, it's off camera over here. We've been working together for, 17 years, I think now. But, it'd be one thing if it was just me and him, because, buddy, it's been a great ride. Love you. And let's face what's coming. But because I had my wife with me that night, it was, I was like, I put her in this situation. She didn't have to be in this situation. She was following me around this crazy ride called music that she didn't sign up for, But since then, we've never flown on a jet that we haven't had maintenance and checked over and over again. I learned my lesson one time. Anytime somebody's like, yeah, just hop on my plane, don't do it. You have no idea where it's been.
Well, we've both done it. If somebody wants to fly me home on Saturday, You just let me.
Well, I'm always
I'll
like,
be the first one in
I'm
line.
going home
bro.
Friday night. I mean,
Let's go.
well, business,
Drop me off
they
at
always
Charlotte.
got the businessman that complains when they have a delay for maintenance. I'm like, no, fix the plane.
I always say thank you.
But
It's like the security guys in the hallway. Do you have your credentials? And they say, that's Cody Johnson. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. Thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate you doing your
I need
job.
you to check that. What is the perspective that you have on life when your life has flashed before your eyes?
I have had my life flash before my eyes a lot in my life, though.
He rode bulls, man.
Oh
Yeah, from prison work to car wrecks to, riding bulls and getting, stomped to death. You have those moments, and I don't think that I ever think about it too much, but I try to cherish every moment. And ever since I was a little kid and I duct taped that play microphone to the side of my bunk bed and I was beating on a guitar with no strings on it and singing along to country radio, I knew then this is what I wanted to do. And thankfully, God's blessed me to where I can make a great living for my family and my kids and my kids' kids, and it keeps going. And because I'm not an idiot, I've got people that I've counseled with to make sure, how do I take what I've earned and make sure it keeps going for my family? So in that regard, I feel very satisfied. But I try not to think about it ending too much, but it is what it is. Everybody thinks about it. I think we all do.
So as a Texas guy, I'm going to guess when you're singing into that microphone taped to your bed, it's Randy Rogers and all them boys?
Shoot, no, it was Merle Haggard and Glenn Campbell and Elvis Presley and Ray Price and George Strait and Chris Ledoux and Charlie Daniels Band and stuff like that. And then later on, I started really listening to Boys to Men and All for One and Mary J. Blige and branching out. Then I'd listen to AC/DC and other rock bands that I loved, that trying to see where does my voice fit in. I'd listen to the Gaither Vocal Band. Where do I fit in? Do I have a rock voice? Do I have an R&B voice? Because I know I love country music, but where do I go? But it's kind of like doing different workouts. Like if you can sing Boys to Men, that's cool that you can. Maybe you're going to pull that trick out of the hat every now and then. But I think that's how I figured out who I am, was taking a little piece of all those things and putting it together.
End of the road?
What's that? Oh my God! Don't get me started. I liked Water Runs Dry was my favorite.
Oh, it's
man.
incredible.
But you take a little bit of all of it, right? Because the truth is in the middle, right? When you get all your inspirations, that's where you find yourself, somewhere in the middle, right?
And I found myself a lot in the studio. Live, you can get away with a lot. You can flub a few notes. Who cares? We're all here having a great time. So nobody's going to be like, he didn't hit that note right. They came out to drink some beer and be out with their families on the weekend and have a good time. But in the studio, everything's in such a microscopic setting that I learned over the years to have more discipline in the studio. It's much more difficult to be a vocalist in the studio being disciplined than it is just kind of letting it all hang out. Anybody can let it all hang out, but knowing, hold it back just a little bit right here, be soft right here, be aggressive right here. I think that I found myself to the point where I look forward to the studio probably more than a live show, because I have the ability now to go in and cut 6 to 8 vocal tracks every session, whereas used to I may got half a song in a session. But I have the confidence, I have the years of experience, and I've honed my craft to the point where I can go in and knock out my entire record in 3 days.
Does perfection ever drive you crazy? Because you saying that makes me think about, and this is a bit of an opaque analogy, but in our world, we're sports reporters, right? So if we're at the college football national championship game and we have to tape a stand-up, and it's a taped thing, like you're in the studio laying down your vocals, we will do it 6 times or 7 times because every word has to be perfect. Whereas if you're live, you just move right on through.
But there's also perfection in imperfection. Which is some of the stuff that I do in the studio, I'm like, I hear your suggestion and I hear your suggestion. We're thinking about it too much. Let me just do it. And maybe it ain't perfect, but it's 100% Cody Johnson. It's 100% authentic. It's 100% of, well, man, that's just the way I sing it. And I think that I mentioned confidence. If you don't have confidence, or if you don't know who you are, then you can't have the gall to say, we're keeping that take. I like that take.
And your audience knows.
They'll know.
They know when it's you. Yeah.
Perfection drives me nuts. It's so funny, y'all are asking all the questions about the mental state I've been in all day. Where when somebody asks you the question of, could you live without music? I don't think I could. there's like, it's like God, Brandy, Clara, Corey music. It's all in this big same, like that's how much I love it. So perfection for music it drives me nuts, but it's what keeps me coming back too. I'm constantly getting back in the saddle, constantly trying to, how can I be better? You guys mentioned sports. It's almost like a fighter. How can I win every fight? I cannot stand to lose a fight. I cannot stand to feel like I've failed. Failure is my worst fear.
And that's what your shows look like.
Well, and it shows there.
Yeah.
It does show up whenever you hear the record or you see me live, you know, God dang, this guy he's putting it all on the line right now. That's great. The backside of that is whenever you're in the bus or the hotel room or you're like, God, I do this to myself. I do this to myself.